Shelley Winter Show live, local, topical, and relevant, my friends. So, you guys have seen the video of Keisha Lance Bottoms and Rick Jackson. We broke the story actually on the Shelley Winter Show last week. Oh, it wasn't last week. See, because I'm going on vacation tomorrow, I'm thinking in my head today is Friday, so that's what I'm thinking. That's why I said last week. No, just a couple days ago we broke that story. So they passed each other, and it was at the National Business League's 126th annual conference. It was here in Atlanta, and so they passed each other. They both spoke at it, and they passed each other. I believe Rick Jackson was leaving, and Keisha Lance Bottoms was coming in, and they passed each other. And there's a video of she saying, "Hey, let's keep our families out of it." And he says, "I hear you," and they kind of keep it moving. And my thoughts on that really quickly. I think that when you run for office, really nothing's off limits. I hate to say that. I really do, because I'd love to see, policy being argued all the time. I hate attack ads because I think they're silly, but no one ever wants to get rid of them. It's funny to me. People will say, consultants will say, or pundits, radio pundits or television pundits will say, yeah, people, polling shows that people hate attack ads, right? This is what opinion polls show. Hey, what do you think of attack ads in politics or going negative in politics? And the vast majority of voters will say, I hate it. But then consultants and the pundits and everybody else will say, but no one's afraid to be the first not to do them, right? But if the audience hates them, why are you afraid to what are you afraid of? If the people hate them, why do you do them? Then they'll tell you after you say that, because obviously if people hate them, why would you do it? But then they'll say, well, because they still work. That's what they say. They still work. Well, the problem with that logic, and it's only the logic that can be employed by a consultant who makes money by making the ads. The failure of that logic is that when you run a negative ad, if both candidates run negative ads, somebody loses. So it didn't work for somebody. So you can't say no one wants to stop doing them because they work. No. 50% of the time, they don't work. I just wanted to say that. But at this conference, Keisha Lance Bottoms spoke, and she talked about the importance of small businesses and minority participation in Atlanta and the state of Georgia, and that's very low. And it was very interesting because when I saw these comments, because I saw everyone's speech, I wasn't there. I looked at the copy, transcripts and things like that. And it was interesting that she said that. Now, I'm just voting for Rick Jackson. I have nothing. I'm not one of these people that thinks Keisha's a bad person. I love her as a human being. I love her family. Met her mom. I love her as a candidate. I'm going to vote for Rick Jackson. So I will never get personal or anything with that because I think she's a good person, right? I just don't agree with the things that she agrees with. But other than that, I don't have a problem with Keisha Lance Bottoms from that standpoint at all. We disagree on politics. That's it, right? But in this case, in this minority business case, the interesting thing is I did not, I realized this because I spoke about it, but then it dawned on me later on. She was part of she was vice chair of the Democrat National Committee in 21. And in 24, she's a senior advisor to Biden-Harris and then Harris-Walz campaigns. She was a senior advisor to the campaigns, right? And if you remember me talking about this, and so, it occurred to me, right? African-American media firms got no money from the Harris campaign. $1 billion campaign in 100 days. The base of the party, African-American companies, media firms, media buying firms, advertising firms, they barely got a pittance, to which you heard me say on this radio station. But I didn't put two and two together until just last night. I thought about it. So wait a minute. Keisha was on that campaign. How can they not have gotten any money? And you can't kind of run now and say, well, I'm going to increase minority participation with small businesses in the state of Georgia. When you had a chance, you had access to $1 billion in a campaign. You had access to $1 billion in a campaign. And by and large, that money went to non-black companies. And now the black consultants, they will call me or text me or post on Facebook, Shelley Winter, I got money. And when you say you got, and I'll ask how much? How much? 30,000 to do some text messages? when $1 billion was spent? And if you're in Georgia, a battleground state, a state that Biden had won, which you could have won again, or you could at least attempt to win again in 2024, should have been a bunch of people. They said there was transitional wealth distributed to people in a Harris Walz campaign. Transitional wealth. That means people who are at one place in one socioeconomic status completely moved up several levels just from that one campaign, or are set for life from that one campaign. And many, all African-American media firms, advertising firms, got a pittance, if anything, at all. And that you were the senior advisor. So I can't really say that when you say you want to increase minority participation, I'm not sure that I can take that seriously, because you had a chance. You had $1 billion pot, and you're a senior advisor with $1 billion to spend at your fingertips, and little to none of it went to African American businesses. That's the strike. We'll be right back. This is Shelley Winter Show.